So I think this is going to be my first time since I've actually kind of sat down and slightly reviewed Gintama, or an arc of Gintama. Now, I just wanted to give my thoughts over this arc, Yoshiwara in Flames. I wanted to give my thoughts on this arc because out of all the arcs of Gintama, there's been quite a few arcs, but this arc has a lot of setup for the future, and I really wanted to discuss this and just give my brief thoughts over how great this arc is and what really sets this arc apart from other arcs I have seen from Gintama. So today, I'm here to bring you my first arc review or thoughts review of, Gintama. So, I'm just gonna say, this arc, just getting, the fangasm stuff out of the way, I'm gonna get that out of the way, getting to see this arc, this arc past my expectations in different ways. Just so many different ways. Like, majority of this arc was straight up serious. Like, it was serious almost 24/7. Like, when you're watching the episodes, almost the entirety of the arc was serious. Besides the beginning, like the first episode and the second episode into the arc, it was kind of comedy-based, but then when you got further into it, it really started turning dark. It started going into this different tone and atmosphere that Gintama is known for when it gets into these serious-type modes. And to see how this arc was done, I was just flabbergasted when I saw the conclusion. Because the conclusion, it kind of sets up another future arc. That's exactly what the ending conclusion of Yoshiwara in Flames sets up, and I cannot wait to see that. I really hope that arc that's foreshadowed in this arc at the end is shown in the anime. I really hope I get to see, like, a match between Gintoki and Kamui, Kagura's brother. I really want to see that. I really want to see that. I do. But here's the thing, okay? This arc, the main concept of this arc, at first it seems rather simple. When you walk into this arc, it seems very simple. As always, when it comes to Gintama arcs, it seems simple at first, and then it turns into a large-scale plot, and you're like, holy shit. Like, the main point was a boy trying to see this girl. You kind of find out that this boy, this child, wants to meet his mother, and he was abandoned as a child supposedly to him, and he comes to find out his mother, or his kind of fake mother that is kind of being as his mother, well, pretty much casted him aside to save his life from this underground world called Yoshiwara. And I have to say, I like the theme and concept of this arc because it's really showcasing, like, a different perspective when it comes to Gintama. Like, it has a similarity trait when it comes to the main theme of Gintama. So I want to discuss some of the plot of Gintama. Now, some watchers of Gintama, I know a lot will ask, Gintama doesn't really have a plot. That's what some people will say when it comes to Gintama. And Gintama, even though it has self-contained stories and its own arcs and tells its own different stories in these different arcs, which are really fucking beautiful and great writing, you can look at it and say, like, there's not really a main progressive story, which, in fact, there is. This arc, in general, plays a major role with showcasing one of the main core themes of Gintama. If you have gotten this far, let's say you're watching this far alongside me, Chibi, and you're trying to catch up, for the anime in spring, most likely you might have noticed, or you might not have noticed. It just depends on how you're watching Gintama, but Gintama's had a lot of reoccurring themes. It has a couple of reoccurring themes showcasing how Gintoki, at the moment, as a character, he is only moving forward, he's only living at the moment to protect the people he loves. And he wouldn't actually be around, or he would have probably have died a long time ago if he didn't have people he cared about, Kagura, Tose, and all sorts of other characters. If he didn't have these other people surrounding him with odd jobs and all that, he would have probably died long ago. And this is one of the main reoccurring themes with Gin, our main character. But the other reoccurring theme that's the main plot is the rebellion. A rebellion against the Shogun. And with Yoshiwara in Flames, it showcases something very similar to what the main plot of Gintama is. Because we know Katsura. Katsura may, at a lot of times, through majority of the series, he looks like he's a joke. Sometimes he does. He's like, I'm Katsura. He's like, I'm not okay. I'm Katsura. The funny lines he does. But even though Katsura is like that, and he seems like a fool sometimes, we have seen Katsura showcase a badass side to him, or a more serious side. He is like the revolutionary leader that's trying to overthrow the government and, kind of get Japan back in order. And so, with this plot, you kind of see the similarities in Yoshiwara in Flames. Yoshiwara in Flames is kind of like a rebellion arc. That's exactly what this arc is. It's where we have this town that is being forced in submission by other races, the Yato and other different aliens from outer space. They're just being forced in submission, and, these children are being, turned into slaves, and then they're becoming prostitutes through their life, and they're forced into this type of situation. And you can kind of look at this element and this theme in this arc similar to what is going on in Japan, or Earth in general. For instance, the samurai, they got shoved to the side, and they got fucking knocked out of the way, and they're no longer able to kind of hold jobs or anything like that, and that's why Gintoki has to be in odd jobs and stuff like that. Samurais don't really belong in the new Earth because of the Amanto and all that. And so when you start thinking about this and the reoccurring themes in this arc, it really just goes to show you, is this like a prelude to what we should expect in the future? Because I feel like the mangaka, I don't know if the mangaka had this in mind, but I feel like the mangaka, when the mangaka wrote this arc in general, I think the mangaka was testing his readers, his audience, and seeing if he can get away with this type of arc. Like, the way this arc is set up, it feels like it's kind of hinting that something even worse is going to happen in the future. Like, maybe Katsura is going to have his own arc where he will eventually try to rebel against the government. Because, since the beginning of the series, Katsura has been building up this army, been getting information, all sorts of stuff like that, and we also have two different sides to the rebellion faction, with the other main villain that was introduced in the first series arc of Gintama. And so, there's slow build-up going on here, and I wonder if there's going to be eventually an arc that focuses on something similar to Yoshiwara in Flames, but where the upper world of Earth is at, trying to overthrow the government. I wonder if we're going to get to see an arc like that, because I feel like that's what this arc was trying to imply. So, getting into the details of this arc. So, what does this arc do in general for Gintama, besides the obvious of what I just mentioned, kind of having reoccurring themes that's similar to the main plot? This arc sets up an upcoming life or death battle between Kagura's brother and Gin. And this life or death battle is probably going to come way down the road. Like, way down the road. Like, I sense this way down the road. Like, it's not going to come in the next 20 episodes, I know for a fact. This type of series probably had this set up for maybe another 100 episodes from now, maybe 200 to 400 chapters in the manga, I have no idea. But the way it's set up, it makes me feel like this battle is set up to be one of the finale battles of the series. That's what this feels like. Because the way Kamui as a character, he was introduced, he is a monster, a straight-up monster, the way he is shown, and the way Gintoki in, the ending finale of this arc was done, the way he was serious, the way he had this different tone and atmosphere about him, it's like he knew this was probably going to be his end, like his final battle. That's how he looked at it, and so, yeah, I'm really curious to see how that's going to go down. So, that's pretty much it. That's my thoughts on that. Arc overall, a very good arc, besides the Kagura bits, which I did my reaction to, which, holy shit, Kagura. Hosen, Hosen or whatever, the king of the night, he was a cool character. He's an ass, he's straight up an ass, but, his strength was unbelievable. Oh my god. Like, when he was showcasing his strength and all that, and he kept fighting, and you saw him pull out his, umbrella. Oh my god. Like, yo. He was tossing Gin around like he was a rag doll. Like, oh my god. Like, Gin. Holy hell. Like, damn. And you gotta love those, inner dialogue moments when Gin was thinking when he was fighting Hosen. He's like, I gotta go, I gotta keep moving, I gotta keep fighting, bite, claw, stuff like that. Gin was thinking in his mind when he's fighting Hosen. That right there was just so badass, because we haven't seen a lot of moments like that. Like, there's been fights in Gintama, but there's not been a lot of serious fights. But when we see serious fights, not comedy, slight comedy-based fights, we see Gin in his true personality, his true war self, how he was in the war in the past. We see how Gin really is. And I really want to know more about Gin. I really want to know more about him, because he may at first seem like he's a happy-go-lucky guy, or a guy that's just kind of a dick or a jerk, but cares about his friends at times. I know he has a very heavy burden. It's very obvious he carries a lot of weight because it's been showcased a lot in the opening songs, the ending songs, and slight subtle hints since the very beginning of the series, but it's never been dived into, which is quite shocking. It's like we're learning and getting character development with Gin through these comedy arcs and stuff like that. It's crazy when you start thinking about it, because there's dialogue that happens in comedy arcs that actually hint at the true personality or the past of Gin, and it's comedy arcs. And the way the mangaka can write this in, it's scary. It's scary as fuck, because the mangaka just slides in these character details. You don't realize it until you start thinking about it. I've noticed some foreshadowing, like straight up the umbrellas with the Yato clan, and finding out that Hosen, he couldn't, stand the sun like Yato clan can't stand the sun. That foreshadowing, I mean, it seems kind of stupid at first, but when you think about the manga using umbrellas with the Yatos and all that, and I was like, whoa, that's just crazy foreshadowing. It really is. So I gotta give props. I gotta give props. That was some pretty good stuff. So yeah, Gintama continues to impress me. It's a very good series. A very, very good series. There are so many arcs I want to talk about. Like, there is a lot of things. Like, every single arc of Gintama actually is worthy of talking about. I mean, Yoshiwara in Flames is not the only arc I want to talk about. It's just one of the arcs that just really hyped me up, because there's this reoccurring theme that confirms what I think is going to happen in the future, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. But there is so many arcs in Gintama that is just amazing. It's not just this arc. There's so many arcs that's so good. There really are. This is by far, I think, my favorite arc now. This definitely is. Yoshiwara in Flames is definitely my favorite arc because the similarities to the main plot and the setup. So yeah, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.